Okay, so I'm recording a demo of edit interactions in Power BI. So when we look at this pair of charts, we have the quantity sold by employees, and it's a beverage and it's a coffee shop basically. So you've got beverages, food, merchandise, etc. And these are the different people in 3 different stores who are actually providing coffee to customers, etc. Down here you can see how much has been sold over time. And we have again the different categories shown by this legend. So edit interactions is basically about how these 2 different charts interact with one another. So you can see it set up that if I click Jordan's name, this one actually highlights all of the different transactions that come from Jordan. You can see that Jordan represents a pretty large proportion of the sales. Now, if I go the other way round and I click on a day, you can see that actually the chart completely redraws. There's no highlighting of Jordan's sales on that particular day as a percentage of his total sales. It completely redraws the chart. And that's because I have edit interactions set up differently across the 2 charts. So to show you in a bit more detail what that means, we'll actually change it. So if I click on this chart and I go to Format, under Format we have this button called Edit Interactions, and as I click it, you can see these 3 small symbols appear at the bottom on this chart. So you've got a no entry sign, which means no interactions at all. You have a highlight, which is what it's currently on, which is when I click Jordan's name, it highlights on the chart below the items that Jordan has sold. And I have filter. So watch what happens if I switch this to filter and click on Jordan's name again. It completely redraws a chart, and we can see Jordan's days of the week. He clearly doesn't work those 2 days. That could be weekend days, it could be Mondays or Tuesdays, whatever. We could analyze that, but we can see a pattern there that we couldn't have seen previously very easily. If I go back to the highlight mode, you can see this time that if I click on Jordan, it's not so easy to spot in all that data. I deliberately chose an axis with a day level to make this a bit more complicated. It's quite hard to see what's going on. You can just see at high level Jordan's pretty important to our business. The other thing I can do is completely turn off those interactions. So I can say no entry sign, click on Jordan, and nothing happens anymore between the 2 charts. So in this case, I think filter is actually a good option. So then if I want to change now the way this chart interacts when I click on this chart, I actually have to click this chart to select it, and you can see my buttons now appear on the other visual. So it's on filter at the moment. If I change it to highlight and just click on one of these bars, you can see it becomes pretty pointless, right? You can see the tiny highlight on Jordan's revenue and a slightly bigger highlight. So Sasha seems to have sold a bit more on that day than Jordan did, but we're not really learning much from that. It's more useful to have it redraw using the filter function than it is to do it that way. So that's really what I wanted to show on edit interactions. The only other thing I would just add is you do have to think carefully about the interactions that you want, because imagine that we had 50 visuals on this page and they're all interacting with each other. There is a performance drain of that, and it's very worth then considering that in your design. If you turn off the interactions where they're not needed, you will definitely get a more performant delivery.